Pokemon Go just had a move pool update. Clearly, some Pokemon from this update have won, other Pokemon have lost. Well, in this video, I'm going to be taking you through the details, letting you know where you're going to be spending your TMs in the near future. So here is the note itself, link in the description if you missed out on it. First up, we have Alolan Raichu with Grass Knot. Now this is a cool addition to Alolan Raichu's kit because it allows it to fight back against the Mudshot users. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too slow. So the result of it is that it can threaten these ground type Pokemon with the Grass Knot. However, its ability in a 1v1, everything being even fight to get the one over on them is actually still pretty flaky due to Grass Knot's high energy cost. It is a nice addition to Alolan Raichu's move pool, and it can help it out in some battles, maybe in some specific PvP cups in the future, but for the time being, it's a nice addition, but it doesn't make the Alolan Raichu. Next up, we've got Vileplume with Sludge Bomb. That's a big pass. Nobody cares. We got Bad Venusaur here with Sludge Bomb, so not too hot. But next up, we have our first winner. And oh my, what a winner this guy is. Hypno now has all 3 elemental punches. So in PvP, this is a pretty big deal because it adds some nice speed to Hypno's relatively slow kit. Using the Confusion over and over again, you really need a really quick, fast move to back it up in order to be very effective in PvP. So that's something that Jirachi has going on with Doom Desire. So Hypno, in a way, is kind of like a more versatile, maybe budget Jirachi of sorts, making it quite the contender in the Great League meta. Open Great League. Not these little cup guys. Clearly this is going to help out in those little cup guys, but in the Great League in general, Hypno is now a serious contender. For the best results, you're going to want to pair Thunder Punch with the Legacy Shadow Ball, but if you aren't blessed in the Legacy sets, comboing Thunder Punch with Focus Blast is still a good idea. That way you can hammer things home with the Confusion, and if the Steel Rock type Pokemon get in your way, Focus Blast them. It might not work 100% of the time, but if they ain't got no shields, they're gonna be sorry. So Hypno, definitely a very strong contender, and I'm very interested to see what happens with Hypno going forward with this lovely move pool upgrade. Then next up, we got Electrode with Foul Play. Doesn't do anything for it. Sorry, Electrode. We got Aerodactyl, and our first ever PvE, like raid content type Pokemon, getting an upgrade here. So Aerodactyl with Rock Throw. So I'm gonna switch over to our DPS TDO spreadsheet to let you know how it's doing in raids. And since our buddy Aggron down here also got Smackdown, I'll lump him in too. Could Aggron finally be a good Pokemon in Pokemon Go, having a double rock moveset? Let's find out. So using the DPS TDO spreadsheet, hitting these guys up against a fire flying type Pokemon, so obviously rock is the clear choice in this battle. You can see that Aerodactyl is now the number 3 rock type Pokemon in terms of DPS. It doesn't beat Rampardos, it doesn't beat Tyranitar. These guys are ridiculously good, but it is able to stand among the great with the double rock moveset. Rock Throw, Rock Slide. Aerodactyl is now finally a contender. And going down here, you can see Aggron. Yeah, Aggron's still bad. Worse than Solrock and Lunatone. That's telling you anything? It's telling you that's not good. However, this is an upgrade from where it once was, especially if we have partly cloudy weather. So if noobish players that just blindly throw out what the auto selector chooses for them happen to have Aggron, and you're fortunate enough that they, for whatever reason, have Smackdown on their Aggrons, that is a win. It's a low-key, subtle win, but it's a win nonetheless, so I'll take it. As far as PvP is concerned, this really doesn't do a whole lot for Aerodactyl. It doesn't really do anything for Aggron either. Aggron, in particular, can work as a ultra-budget Bastiodon or Probopass, but Probopass is already low-cost enough, so I don't think Aggron's really making waves in PvP. However, if Aggron were to get some better charge moves, perhaps it could see some light in the PvP arena in the future. But for now, it's just bad Bastiodon, bad Probopass, bad Melmetal, bad Lantern, if you think about the roles, so sorry Aggron, you kinda suck still. Then roping back up, we have 3 interesting new additions to the move pools of our 3 team mascots. Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres now all have Ancient Power, a rock-type charge move that in PvP has the chance of boosting their stats to a whole nother level. On top of that, Articuno now has Ice Shard as a fast move, Zapdos has Drill Peck as a charge move, and Moltres has Wing Attack as a fast move. I'm going to save you guys the trouble. In general, these move pool upgrades really aren't a whole lot. Articuno, already pretty bad. If it were to be in a specific Silpharina Cup where ice types are allowed, and for whatever reason it makes sense to have an Articuno, then the Ancient Power could let it fight against the other ice type Pokemon, so that is a possibility, but in general, not so hot. As far as Zapdos is concerned, the new moves are pretty spicy on it. However, in the Great League, it's limited to using Charge Beam. So yeah, Thunder Shock with those moves could be pretty exciting, but in the Great League, we're stuck with Charge Beam, which is just a little bit too slow for Zapdos to even begin to stand out. As far as the Master League and Ultra Leagues are concerned, electric type damage really isn't the bee's knees. These new move pool upgrades for Zapdos really isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot for it either, in my opinion at least. So we may see some spice from Zapdos in the future, but for the time being, it's like almost there. Almost there. As far as Moltres is concerned, this could allow it to stand out with the Sky Attack, but Sky Attack, once again, is a move that you can't get in the Great League, so not doing anything too much for it in the Great League, and then in the Master League and the Ultra League, this combination of moves, not really that effective at all. Big news for Moltres is with Wing Attack and Sky Attack. It is now the best flying type Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So sorting the DPS TDO spreadsheet here by grass and fighting type Pokemon, we're able to get a glimpse of the best flying type Pokemon. So we can see here that Moltres now takes command, Wing Attack, Sky Attack, way better than the Honchkrow. DPS, kinda similar, Moltres obviously ahead, and the TDO, which is like tankiness, definitely far ahead of the Honchkrow. So Moltres, definitely the best flying type Pokemon in the game, possibly for generations to come. I say that, and you might be wondering, Ryan Swag, what's this Archeops thing doing up there? Well, we all know that Gen 5's a-coming. You hear that whistle of the train? That's the Gen 5 hype train, and Archeops may outpace Moltres. Should it get Wing Attack and Sky Attack? If it gets Aerial Ace, you can see right here, Archeops less than Honchkrow. But if it gets Sky Attack, whole new level of flying type DPS. You see this Moltres here, 42.6 whatever. This is 49.8. 49.8! Madness. So we'll see what ends up happening with Archeops when it comes out in the whenever future. For the time being, I think Moltres is pretty safe and secure in the number 1 flying type role. Now if you're thinking, Ryan Swag, grass fighting, what is that, a Breloom raid? What? In Gen 5, there is a fighting grass legendary Pokemon named Virizion. In fact, in Gen 5, there are 4 legendary fighting type Pokemon, 2 of which are neutral to flying type because, you know, rock subtyping, steel subtyping, but grass fighting and a water fighting. So good opportunity for flying type Pokemon to show off their stuff. If you got the Legacy Sky Attack Moltres, you should probably get your fast TMs already. Next up on our list, we got Sceptile with the Dragon Claw. Now the Dragon Claw is a cool nod to its Mega Evolution, Mega Sceptile, which is sub-Dragon type, but Sceptile here that we got right now is not sub-Dragon type, and overall, Dragon Claw is a cool move, but Sceptile's not really making good use of it, in my opinion at least. We already talked about the Aggron. Next up is Claydol with the Mud Slap. Yeah, maybe in some sort of cup in the future, maybe. Mud Slap might be relevant, but for the time being, it's all about that confusion with Claydol. I don't know why you'd want to use Mud Slap, so sorry Claydol. Mud Slap, not that big of a deal. You already won. You got confusion. What do you need Mud Slap for, man? And then next up, we got Bronzong, and I feel like Bronzong's kind of like a sleeper winner. I've been looking around, not a lot of people are highlighting the Bronzong, but I think this is a really exciting upgrade for the Bronzong, having Bulldoze and Psyshock. So in PvP, in the Great League in general, Bronzong's always been kind of one of those like low-key good Pokemon. It's not the best Pokemon, but it's good. It's threatening. It's got confusion and steel type resistances, right? Well, Jirachi recently hit the scene, arguably being a much better Bronzong. Well, Bronzong is now rallying back with Psyshock and Bulldoze. So with Psyshock, Bronzong now has a nice early activating charge move to follow up the heavy confusion. And then on top of that, it has Bulldoze. The bane of a psychic type's existence in the Great League isn't dark type Pokemon. I mean, obviously dark type Pokemon, but how often do we see dark type Pokemon? It's actually those pesky steel types, the steel rock types. Bastiodon, Probopass, ruining our lives. Well, Bronzong hits them for double super effective with the Bulldoze. And because of the Psyshock being able to bait shields, you know, put them on kind of an even playing field, Bronzong can take down its steel type brethren, potentially taking their role while also beating them. So I think Bronzong is definitely a spicy Pokemon. So if you're into Great League PvP, definitely put this guy under the microscope and see if it works out for your team. Then next up, we got the Electivire with the Ice Punch. Now when Electivire came out, I said, man, I wish it got Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Cross Chop, because that'd be a really cool reference to its promotional Pokemon back in Gen 4. There's these promos, you could download Magmortar and a Electivire, and Electivire had all the punch and chop moves going on. So I thought that would have been a cool nod to that promotion back in the day. Well, we are one punch closer. We got the Ice Punch. Unfortunately for Electivire, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Electivire is a little bit too frail. Ice Punch hitting a little too soft. So sorry, Electivire. I love that you have Ice Punch. Electric and Ice type coverage, really cool. But right now, not that big of a deal. Then we got the whole edition of Charm, the Fairy type fast attack in Pokemon Go to various Pokemon. So yeah, we got Raichu, Clefable, Wigglytuff, Wobbuffet, Gramble, Donphan, Gardevoir, Delcatty, Latias, Togekiss, Gallade. So this is awesome. If you don't know the stats for Charm, link in the description to the Game Press page, letting you know what the stat breakdown is. But the general is that it's sort of like Razor Leaf in both PvE and PvP content. Heavy damage, not so hot on the energy gains, not too bad on the energy gains, but it's mostly like upfront, personal, fast attack damage with the Charm. So now Fairy type Pokemon can finally have those sweet, dual, Fairy type movesets. As far as Charm goes, I do want to do a more in-depth analysis on how Charm has affected these Pokemon. So if you want to check out that video, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. What I can let you know is that with Charm, Wigglytuff, specifically in the Jungle Cup, which is the Silpharina Cup that's going on right now, is now an insane monster. Wigglytuff is quite literally Wigglytuff. Vigoroth was the master of the Jungle Cup. No longer, Wigglytuff slaps that guy out of existence with Charm. And then you have Noctowl, the other master of the Jungle Cup, quote unquote, air quoting it, because Wigglytuff does not care. Charm, charm, charm. It's done. Now you might be thinking, well, okay, that means people are going to whip out Fortress because, you know, the Steel type resists the Fairy type. But if Wigglytuff sets up a 2-shield scenario against a Fortress, a would-be counter Fortress, the charge damage rips right through it. So definitely a huge player. If you have not done your Jungle Cup battles yet, definitely IV check all your Igglybuffs, Jigglypuffs, and Wigglytuffs because Wigglytuff is now insane. And then to add, if you haven't done your Jungle Cups already, definitely look at your Pokemon with poison type attacks, namely Beedrill, because you're going to want to have them to stop the Wigglytuffness from ruining your life. As far as the other Pokemon go, it's generally a nice upgrade. As far as PvP is concerned, I don't think a lot of these Pokemon are gonna like explode out of nowhere, sort of like how Wigglytuff has in this particular cup. Maybe in specific cups, they might. The main thing that is holding these Pokemon back is the dominance of Steel-type Pokemon in Great League PvP. So, Skarmory, Bastiodon, Probopass, they all really don't care too much about this edition. You got the grass-type Pokemon, which are all grass sub-poison except for Tropius. They're not really minding it all that much either. And then when you consider the Open Great League, Medicham isn't really around because Deoxys is so insane and beats the Medicham. So in general, I think they're good. They definitely have a place and they're going to be threats. But in the Open Great League, not that big of a deal. Now, to flip things over, when you consider the Ultra League, which is dominated by the Ghost Dragon-type Giratina, Wigglytuff. Yeah. So the Ultra League now has some pretty solid contenders, along with Granbull, just because Charm can just slap right through the Giratina. Charge move activation, don't really need it that much because you're just beating the crud out of Giratina with your fast move damage. As far as the Master League is concerned, I'm not 100% sure if any of these Pokemon are really big enough to threaten stuff in the Master League, let alone the Giratinas. But Ultra League, looking pretty hot. Great League might be some sleeper picks, but at the moment, I'm not super convinced outside of specific cups. And then finally, we have Skull Bash, which is a 75 energy cost charge move in PvP that has the additional effect of increasing your defense stat. Blastoise gets it, Lapras, Snorlax, Rhyperior, Raichu. I don't think this move is it, guys. It's way too slow. Niantic needs to, learn that when you give an attack more than 50 energy, no one's gonna use that attack unless it's crazy. Defense stat increase of 1, not all that crazy. Also, there has been an update to PvP where these buffing moves and debuffing moves have their effects erased when you swap your Pokemon out, which means this slow attack that you're charging all the way to and you finally use it, if you happen to swap your Pokemon out, you lose the buff, so that's even more lame. As far as this losing your stats when you swap out thing goes, that's the intended effect. The way all these attacks have been written, I guess they were supposed to be that way, and now they finally made them that way, and they're making a lot of people upset because a lot of these moves that were kinda cool are now completely useless. So, yeah, Acid Spray. Good luck, Acid Spray. You're not good anymore. Thank you, Niantic. So that wraps it up new attacks, the Pokemon that get them, the winners, and the losers. To recap who the big winners are, we got Hypno, feeling like a champion now. Aerodactyl, now finally a worthwhile rock-type attacker. We got Moltres, the best flying type in the game. Bar Archeops in the future happening to get Sky Attack. I don't think it's likely, but it could happen. Moltres, still super boss mode for now. Flying type, amazing. Aggron, no, Aggron lost. I mean, it won in the sense that it's better now, but it's still not it. Sorry, Aggron. Bronzong, now insane in PvP. I think it's a really good pick. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on it. It's awesome. And then as far as charm goes, I'd say the vast majority of these Pokemon are winners, but I do want to do a more specific, in-depth analysis of it for raid content and PvP content. Overall, the clear winner out of this group among all else for PvP is definitely Wigglytuff. Jungle Cup, it is now insane. And Ultra League, well, Giratina, good luck, Giratina. And then so many months down the line, when we finally get Great League viable Giratinas, Wigglytuff will rise and kick some serious butt. But as far as everybody else, future analysis. And then Skull Bash, 75 energy cost for whatever. And then I guess in PvE content, it's 100 energy cost for whatever. So it's a nice reference to Blastoise's OG signature move, but If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. If you enjoy this content, you want to see more like it, well then make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also love to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you're not aware, the Swagman has a Patreon. That way I can afford a video editor, such as the one that has edited this video, and keep my content flowing along throughout my life. If you want to support the Swagman, well, check it out. Check it out.